Climate change has already begun to impact our planet in more ways than we can think. Temperatures continue to rise throughout the planet, and we're experiencing changes in precipitation patterns as we've never seen before. Saving the environment starts with us, as it is our responsibility to preserve the planets for future generations. Before starting the video, please subscribe to the channel and click on the notification icon so you get notified when we upload the next video. Climate change, the bigger picture. Climate change widespread, rapid, and intensifying. We're really running out of time to stop climate change, are we? Some politicians and writers have thrown their heads up in the air and argued that it's too late and that human civilization is simply not up to the task. Others, meanwhile, took the report as a call to arms, reframing one of its points as a political organizing message. We have only 12 years to stop climate change and the clock is ticking. 3 years later, we're down to 9. But the full picture is both more and less dire than a slogan can capture. We can't stop climate change because it's already here, and it's already too late to reverse many of its catastrophic effects. What's true is that things are on track to get much worse over the course of this century, and that if we're going to stop those things from happening, society is going to have to start hitting some important deadlines fast. There's a big one coming 12 years after the IPCC report. Blowing through it won't immediately plunge society into a Mad Max-style dystopia, as some have suggested, perhaps tongue-in-cheek, but it will make sure everything keeps getting steadily worse, and it will make turning things around down the road that much harder. The past 7 years are on track to be the 7 warmest on record. According to the provisional WMO State of the Global Climate 2021 report, based on data for the first 9 months of 2021, a temporary cooling La Nina event early in the year means that 2021 is expected to be only the 5th to 7th warmest year on record. But this does not negate or reverse the long-term trend of rising temperatures. It rained rather than snowed for the first time on record at the peak of the Greenland ice sheet. Canadian glaciers suffered rapid melting, a heat wave in Canada and adjacent parts of the USA pushed temperatures to nearly 50 degrees Celsius in a village in British Columbia. Death Valley, California reached 54.4 degrees Celsius during one of multiple heat waves in the southwestern USA. Whilst many parts of the Mediterranean experience record temperatures, extreme events are the new norm, every region facing increasing changes. Many characteristics of climate change directly depend on the level of global warming, but what people experience is often more different on the global average. For example, warming over land is larger than the global average, and it is more than twice as high in the Arctic. Climate change is already affecting every region on Earth in multiple ways. The changes we experience will increase with additional warming, said IPCC Working Group. The report projects that the coming decade, climate changes will increase in all regions. For 1.5 degrees C of global warming, there will be an increased heat wave and longer warm seasons and shorter cold seasons. At 2 degrees Celsius of global warming, heat extremes would more often reach critical tolerance thresholds for agricultural and health, the report shows. But it's not just about temperature. Climate change is bringing multiple different changes in different regions, which will all increase with further warming. These include changes to wetness and dryness, to winds, snow and ice, coastal areas, and oceans. Climate change is affecting rainfall patterns. In high latitudes, precipitation is likely to increase, while it is projected to decrease over large parts of the subtropics. Changes to monsoon precipitation are expected, which will vary by region. Coastal areas will see continued sea level rise throughout the 21st century, contributing to more frequent and severe coastal flooding in low-lying areas and coastal erosion. Extreme sea level events that previously occurred once in 100 years could happen every year by the end of the century. Further warmings will amplify permafrost thawing and the loss of seasonal snow cover, melting of glaciers and ice sheets, and loss of summer Arctic sea ice. Emissions inequality. There is a gulf between global rich and poor. The richest 1% of the world's population are responsible for more than twice as much carbon pollution as the 3.1 billion people who made up the poorer half of humanity during a critical 25-year period of unprecedented emissions growth. Although climate change is a global threat, it is especially menacing to the world's poor. As the mean temperature of the Earth rises, the impact of climate change on sources of water and food and on health and living standards will be greater in those regions that are already struggling. Waves of climate refugees, damage to traditional cultures, increasingly frequent and severe floods and droughts. These are other results of global warming and will constitute a humanitarian disaster on top of the environmental one. The cost of climate change will be political and geopolitical as well. Weak states will become failed. The poor, both those living in poverty and those just barely above the poverty line, are already the most at risk from climate change. They have the fewest resources to adapt or recover quickly from shocks, and they often live on the most vulnerable land because it tends to be the most affordable, such as homes along creeks that flood, or on hillsides prone to landslides, or farmlands with limited water access. The damage extreme weather can do to their homes and businesses can prevent the poor from escaping poverty, and it's often the trigger that tips the vulnerable into poverty. Emit or die. Global warming impacts everyone's food and water security. Climate change is a direct cause of soil degradation, which limits the amount of carbon the Earth is able to contain. Some 500 million people today live in areas affected by erosion, while up to 30% of food is lost or wasted as a result. Meanwhile, climate change limits the availability and quality of water for drinking and agriculture. In many regions, crops that have thrived for centuries are struggling to survive, making food security more precarious. Such impacts tend to fall primarily on the poor and vulnerable. Global warming is likely to make economic output between the world's richest and poorest countries grow wider. Disasters linked to climate and weather extremes have always been part of our Earth system, but they're becoming more frequent and intense as the world warms. No continent is left untouched, with heat waves, droughts, typhoons, and hurricanes causing mass destruction around the world. 90% of disasters are now classed as weather and climate related, costing the world economy $520 billion each year, while 26 million people are pushed into poverty as a result. Solutions and costs to reverse climate change. The UN Environment Program estimates that the global cost of adapting to these climate impacts is expected to grow to 140 to 300 billion per year by 2030 and 280 to 500 billion dollars per year by 2050. The simple truth is that no single solution can address every cause and effect of global climate change. It will take collective significant actions at all levels to preserve the planet and protect our future. Urge government to take bold, ambitious climate action now. Use energy wisely and save money too. Consume less, waste less, enjoy life more. Make your commute green. Millions of people drive to work every day. It is simply unavoidable in our modern day society. However, the downside to this is that millions of cars emit greenhouse gases that destroy our atmosphere. Vehicle emissions are a close second when it comes to the top causes of climate change. There are always other options that you can utilize to make your commute to work eco-friendly. For starters, taking public transportation to work is a great way to cut out emissions. Riding your bike to work is also incredibly helpful to the environment, and it's a great method to get exercise. Can we fix climate change? There's still time to fix climate. Many scientists now say global warming could stop relatively quickly after emissions go to zero. If all human emissions of heat-trapped gases were to stop today, Earth's temperature would continue to rise for a few decades as ocean currents bring excess heat stored in the deep ocean back to the surface. Once this excess heat radiated out to space, Earth's temperature would stabilize, and experts think the additional warming from this hidden heat are unlikely to exceed 0.9 degrees Fahrenheit or 0.5 degrees Celsius. With no further human influence, natural processes would begin to slowly remove the excess carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and global temperatures would gradually begin to decline. To avoid that threshold, the world can emit only a set amount of CO2 from now into the future. This quantity is known as carbon budget. That threshold moves further into the future. However, if countries significantly reduce their output very soon, aggressive policies enacted now can create more time and more hope for preventing the catastrophe. What humanity must do immediately to prevent climate change? Take action in your community. Ask the government to act on climate. Power up on plants. Top up your fitness. Petrol and diesel cars spew out lots of climate-wrecking emissions. They also increase air pollution. Most car trips in the UK are relatively short, under 5 miles, so it's fair to say many of us could be leaving the motor at home more than we are. Top up your fitness and tackle climate change at the same time by cycling or walking. Too tired? Hop on the bus or a train. Save energy at home. Respect and protect green spaces. Do let us know in the comments if you know more solutions to protect our climate. Thank you so much for watching.